Greetings, beautiful ones, and welcome. This is Nazanin Marashian, Love and Heart Art, deep dive into tools for empowerment and healing. In this contemplation, I want to discuss the emotion of anger. Anger as a form of transformation. Anger is often an emotion that we tend to override. Well, that's how I feel. I know certainly I've done this in the past. And particularly in my observation within the conscious community, there is this notion that everything needs to be peace and joy and light and love. But anger is a very important emotion to recognize, to lean into, to have a conversation with. Because the energy and the fire that anger stirs within the body has the potential for great transformation and action. As I'm moving through lots of things in my life, I'm noticing how anger has this destructive as well as constructive nature, and how it moves through the body in the solar plexus, particularly, and without knowing how to channel that anger, how to move that fire, you really do burn yourself from the inside out, and consequently creating a destructive path in the wake of anger toward those around you. We often associate anger as a negative, low-level emotion, and it can be when unchecked, leading you into a rabbit hole of vengeance, lashing out, violence. That energy in motion of anger, when channeled correctly, has the fuel in the fire for change. It is that fuel for very deep and permanent change. Having awareness of the anger trigger is the beginning of the inquiry questions into, well, what can I do in the here and now to change the situation or the direction of where I am focusing this energy, and moving that anger to fuel the action, to change something. What I've noticed though, you can't do that whilst you're in the emotion, because I know of late that I've had these waves of anger running through me, stemming mainly from a sense of injustice that I witness and experience in my life and within my personal story, and also what's happening outside of my life, what's happening in my homeland of Iran and the collective. There is so much that needs to break in the old systems, and anger is a force to crack that wall, to break through into change. Yet, it is also unsustainable to hold on to anger for too long, as it is internally destructive. So, a technique that I've been using to bring myself into calmness within the anger, which is quite hard, can be hard, is a practice of mindfulness. So acknowledging the situation and how I feel firstly, and allowing myself a moment to feel that rage inside of me, and then letting it seep out. And depending on the intensity, of course, of the anger determines what I will need to do to release it. So it's like a low-level anger, a flicker of a flame, for example. A big exhale, a sigh, a shake often helps. Shaking my body, shaking my hands, shaking my head. But if it's a big one, a bigger one, a campfire size one, then journaling and breathing and all those kind of things are not going to be enough. It's impossible for me to sit with a big level of anger. And the best medicine for me is to be in nature in those times, to really ground in, to go for a swim. Swimming is essential. Bringing in the water element is helpful to calm my nervous system. But I'm also aware that I'm not wanting to diffuse the fire too much, as this is the fuel to propel me into action from that place of momentum within where I want to see the change. And commanding within my prayer, commanding to Spirit to open up that pathway to finding the solution of whatever it is that is moving within me. It's just about bringing myself into a point of centrality within the anger and not being overcome by it. It's very subtle, takes discipline. To be able to regulate your emotions to the point where you can step out of the story and step into the energetics of how you can use this energy that is flowing through you for the best outcome is a really important step in reclaiming your personal power also. That in these heightened emotions like anger, you're not losing yourself. One of the most clear and expedient ways in dealing with anger is also, in my opinion, a level of acceptance is needed. Again, what is external to me is out of my control. And yet anger, being unchecked disappointment and frustration, sometimes the only way to move forward is accept that I can only affect change within me and take a point of action from within my perspective. And that frustration and disappointment, that incredulity that I see outside of myself can only be changed when there is inner work done. Acknowledging that, yes, what needs to change in my experience and the collective experience, and using that anger to fuel the fire within me and ignite that flame of transformation within me that I can use to pull me forward and upward. And then I'm back in my power. And then from that point, action steps can be made. Movement towards external change can be made. If there is a situation that collectively we move to shift and change. Because whenever we are allowing anything external to us to influence how we respond, we start losing parts of ourselves, losing our power. We're matching what is happening out there. So bringing it back in, reframing and using that anger to really recalibrate without washing it down or overriding it. I'm not saying that at all, but it's about recalibrating the energy, because everything is frequency, and being conscious about where that anger is moving through and towards can then be used for you and impact and affect a bigger transformation. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, noticing for myself how quickly I've been able to come back into center, even within the anger that I'm holding within me. And having a spiritual practice is really helpful. And whatever it is for you, having awareness of your body, mind, having awareness of your system, your thought patterns, your programming and sense of worth can really move you into deeper spaces of contemplation within how you want to be in the world and re-establish your point of centrality in each moment is an amazing tool for bringing yourself back from those waves of anger. Well, that has been my embodiment and experience of anger lately. And of course, there are many ways to work through anger. For me, nature and water, earth and water together help me to come back. And it's interesting, the other day at work, one of my colleagues commented on how calm and happy I look. And I found that really interesting because I'm still angry. There is things that really need to shift and sort and change. But moving myself from that place of impotency in the anger to then inspired action is being noticed, because even a candle flame, when you look at it, is calm, is dancing around. There is movement, but it's still lit. So stay lit, everyone. And I want to conclude my sharing with you today with a quote from the great Mahatma Gandhi, who spoke a lot about anger. And this is a quote from the book The Gift of Anger, written by his fifth grandson, Arun Gandhi. And I found it very inspiring. He says, "Use your anger for good. Anger to people is like gas to the automobile. It fuels you to move forward and to get to a better place. Without it, we would not be motivated to rise to a challenge. It is an energy that compels us to define what is just and unjust." So much truth in that. Befriend your anger. Well, I hope you find strength and resilience in your anger as well, to find solutions to any obstacles and recognize the value of this emotion in defining what is just and unjust for you and within you and outside of you. So much gratitude and gentleness and love to you all, beloveds, beautiful ones, beautiful beings of light. Reach out if you'd like to know more about how to work with your emotions to empower you in your life. You can get in touch via my website, nazaninmarashian.com, or on Instagram at nazaninmarashian. Thank you all so much, and until next time, you have been listening to Nazanin Marashian Love and Heart Art.